What is good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, put it on all so you get notified of all the latest content on our channel. So without further ado, let's get into it. So just a few days ago now, we had Canelo versus Bivol, or Bivol versus Canelo as it should have been titled. And I saw something that I never thought I'd see. Well, I thought I could see a few of these things, but Canelo got outboxed, outclassed, and outpointed. Especially the last part of that sentence, I did not expect to see. This was one of those fights where I'll admit I got it wrong. I picked Canelo to actually win on points, and part of the reason I picked him was because I couldn't see Dimitry Bivol, with the political climate we're in terms of where he comes from and everything, and with Canelo being the cash cow of the sport. Canelo often gets the benefit of the doubt in close decisions, in fights where, you saw the Mayweather card when he fought Mayweather. One of the judges scored it 114 a draw. So I was expecting Canelo, going into this fight at least, to get the rub of the green, to get the benefit of the doubt. But I'm very happy to report that this fight, in terms of who got the decision, fair enough. I think the only one of the major issues was the scoring for me was far too close. They only gave it to Bivol by 2 rounds, which that was out of order. He's won it by good margin. I suppose you could argue 9 rounds to 3 or something like that, or maybe 8 to 4 if you want to be kind. But it was crazy. Some of the judges, I think all 3 of them gave Canelo the first 4 rounds, which was absurd. That was outrageous, because Bivol was boxing so well in those rounds. So I don't know what the judges were looking at. But anyway, nonetheless, it was one of those performances where Canelo was sometimes in this fight in no man's land. Bivol used his size very well. He used the ring very well. He used, as I was saying in the preview, used his legs. His movement was good. His movement was sharp, quick, in and out. He was using the in and out movement a lot. Utilized another thing that I was sort of saying in my sort of pre-fight video was about in and out movement, and keeping Canelo at the end of your shots, keeping him at the end of a jab, and using the straight punches. And that's one thing Bivol done very well in this fight. Utilized the range very well, controlled the distance and everything very, very well, and he just gave him Canelo a masterclass here. I mean, he was landing beautifully with these straight combinations, bam, 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 1, 2, 3. Brilliant display by Bivol. And it was a fight where Canelo was playing catch up, but he just was frustrated all night long, really, because he would try to set himself to punch. He was made to miss wildly at certain points. And this is one where what he tried against, what worked for him against Kovalev and some of these other guys, Smith, Callum Smith and all these guys, where he'd eventually wear the guys down. That sort of tactic was not working, on Saturday night. And it was, just pure impressive, sweet science by Bivol. Bivol, for his part, he was the busier man, he was the bigger man, and he just made all of his advantages count in this fight. It was very impressive, as and it was one of them where I was. I know Bivol's good, but you're just so used to Canelo sort of walking through guys that, it was a very pleasant surprise, because I knew, yes, absolutely, Bivol could win this fight, but to actually see it happening was still very impressive, because he just completely and utterly nullified Canelo. After the fight, Bivol was saying, they asked him, were you ever hurt? And Bivol said, yes, I was hurt. He paused, and then he said, my arm was hurt. So that was quite funny by Dimitry Bivol. But he certainly has gone up in my estimation. He's already sort of proved himself a light heavy, but this is a great notch on the belt for Dimitry Bivol, who I didn't think I'd see this, but he completely sort of outclassed Canelo in some instances of this fight. He made Canelo miss wildly, and he made Canelo almost look like a bit of a novice in this fight. So yeah, Dimitry Bivol goes away with the victory. He said he's more than willing to do the rematch. He's even spoken about, because Canelo is undisputed at super middle, he said he's even willing to go down to super middle and take what Canelo's got down there. So heard a bit of news today as well about this, that Canelo wants to definitely trigger the rematch clause, do it again. Me personally, I'm not too sure what he can change to actually win this fight, because I think really he'd need to, he kind of started this fight with the right idea by sort of starting fast and, you know, trying to throw the combinations and put a bit of pressure on Dimitry Bivol, but Bivol sort of adapted and adjusted to Canelo's pace, and he kept the pace quite fast all the way through, whereas Canelo was sort of one-paced and he was kind of several steps behind. So yeah, I think that if there is a rematch, I think Bivol wins handily on points, and maybe even more handily, unless Canelo makes some rapid adjustments and somehow sort of speeds his feet up. I agree with also Mike Tyson's, he made a little post-fight video, and he was talking about how Canelo needed to employ some of his old Mike Tyson tactics, where, you know, you're not just standing in front of your man and blocking, you're actually weaving, rolling the shots, and you're sort of making the man miss and jabbing your way in. And yeah, I think that jab sort of thing, the jab was definitely missing from Canelo's game plan. So maybe if he employs one, that might sort of save him. But if it's immediate with no interim fight, I reckon you're just looking at another Dimitry Bivol points decision, unless Canelo manages to catch him or hurt him or something like that. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on this. I mean, I thought it was an absolute masterclass, one-sided. It's the type of thing we've not seen happen to Canelo really since Floyd Mayweather, and this is Dimitry Bivol is the first man since Floyd Mayweather to actually beat him. So yeah, very impressive by Dimitry Bivol. I'd love to see him unify and become undisputed against the winner of Joe Smith Jr., Artur Beterbiev. He's already beaten Joe Smith Jr., so yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens next. But I think, yeah, the rematch will be a great money spinner for Bivol, but for me, there's only one winner in it, unless there's some massive adjustment. So let me know what you thought about this fight, and until next time, it's MKO Pugilism, over and out.